Welcome back. We visit with the Wofford Terriers, getting ready for the campaign ahead. Shawn Watson, the head coach, getting ready for his first full season at the helm of the Terriers. Kyle Pinnix, wide receiver, and Brandon Maina, defensive lineman for the Terrier team. And funny how things can change in life. A year ago, you had just arrived as the offensive coordinator, bringing some new aspects of the attack. And by early October, a day before you're getting ready to get on the bus for Sanford, now you're back at a head coaching role, and then interim tag lifted after a strong finish. So it's, I know, been a whirlwind over these past, 9 months, 10 months or so. Have you kind of finally caught up to where everything maybe seems normal in life again for you?
Yes, and it's still, we're busy, but it's a great busy. I knew what I was getting into, and there's always challenges, but it's been fun. I've had a blast. I've got a great staff around me, and so it works out awesome.
I think it's a point of pride. It's a credit to you and the staff and to the guys who were on the team last year, and then I know many returned, but a 3-2 finish after what was an 0-6 start and part of a longer losing skid. And we talked a lot about it last fall, about how it was all about just getting the mind right. You look back on that, and again, with a different opponent to prepare for each week, I think an achievement, a win in itself, was just kind of getting everyone feeling good about football again.
No, it was. When they asked me to take over, I sensed and had a feel for, I wanted to love the kids first, and then get them to love the game of football, and the coaches get to love the game of football. And we just set on a unique course that was, I think, in every experience I've had in coaching, I've learned stuff. And this was one of the most rewarding experiences I've had over 41 years because of the people, period.
Really interesting way to look at things. Kyle is one of the guys returning. Do you ever think back and think, man, that last fall, we were just kind of sleeping fast and taking each day. But I mean, just thinking back on that experience, how odd of an experience, how fulfilling as it played out was it for you?
Yeah, it's definitely been. I would say it's a blessing having a guy like Coach Watson, especially the coaching staff with us. The first few years, first couple years that I was there, it was, felt a little slouching. It felt like the days were long and stuff. But now, we have had Coach Watson through the second half of the year. You love to go to practice every day. You love to go to meetings. And, it went from I have to do this to I get to do this. And I think that's really changed our program.
And Brandon, from your standpoint, did spring ball just kind of almost feel like you could just kind of take a breath and just focus on all that was good and get ready fully for the campaign ahead?
Yes, definitely. I would say, just like what my teammate Kyle was saying, it felt like something I love to do. It's something I get to do every single day. And just cumulus beginning of fall camp, the fall season, to how we finished off strong, it really just was like a feel-good. But we knew that we have to improve and do better the next season and into this coming fall.
Now, Shawn, I know Jimmy Wyrick, I thought he evolved last year as your QB. He's moved on. Bryce Corriston is a fellow who challenged for the starting job. Cade Rice, Sam Cornett, among others. What does that position look like right now going into camp and then beyond?
Well, right now, Cade and Bryce both have the experience. Our young freshman, Paulie Seeley, he's added to the room. He was with us in January, and then joining us is Amari Odom, who's with us now, been here since July. So, with those guys, I think, what I wanted to do, I took 2 freshmen because I wanted to add competition to the room. And we got 2 really good guys to add competition because the quarterback room, I've been blessed to be a part of some great ones. And it was all centered around competition and healthy competition because we want a championship quarterback, but we want a championship quarterback room. That means everybody is critical in their developments because if somebody goes down, somebody's got to pick it back up. So, I love, I love my room. I like, just Bryce and I think Cade have had the vein, just seeing what happened to Jimmy too. Jimmy broke out against Kennesaw State, had a rough patch against Mercer, got a little too cute with things, thought he knew, found out he didn't, and then he humbled himself and he knocked it out of the park the rest of the way through. So they got to see that, and I don't have to go through that speed bump with them.
Sure. That's rewarding at least. I think a guy like Kyle Parsons at running back is one of those who brought some competition to that position last year. And you look around this offense, a lot of guys who played some ball there. Ingram out of the backfield, Leggett, Kyle's coming back, a receiver, Garrett Vernon, tight ends who played a lot. Now that you've got guys who are over a year in your system, you were able to kind of get last season put behind. Give me the vision of this offense and the average fan who's watching a game that knew Wofford, of course, as an option team for years and years. So what does this team look like? A lot of one back, a lot of two back? Are you going three wide? What are some of the things you hope to do?
I would classify us as a pro spread offense, meaning that we're going to play up tempo. We can go one word fast. We can slow it down and look at it and then give the quarterback the right play or have him check it. So we have multiplicity. Yet we're a no-huddle team, and we're going to be in several different personnel groups because I really believe in that aspect because it adds to your football. And, the passing game is the West Coast system, which is something I think really plays to the quarterback and how we develop the quarterback because we really develop our team through the eyes of the quarterback.
Mm-hmm. What did you notice during the spring, Kyle, in terms of the offense and how it grew and maybe we'll have even more momentum coming into this season, regardless who the starting quarterback is?
One thing that we really focused on throughout the spring was our fundamentals. Just going back to, for the linemen, getting our eyes on our targets, for the receivers, knowing your concepts. I think that really just helped everybody just to take a step back from, the challenges of the game and just really brought it down, just simplified it. It really helped us.
On the defensive side, Brandon, you had a really good one move on in Michael Mason, but Chuck Smith's the guy next to you there on the D front that has really kind of grown in his role. You've had a lot of injuries on that side. I think good health is the first thing you're hoping for, but what were some of the things you saw the defense grow in during spring ball to get better from last year?
Like he said, I feel like we were able to get healthy throughout the spring ball, and we were able to work on our fundamentals, our technique, and really relearn the defense and build on the adjustments that the coaches made. And throughout the spring ball, we felt like we got better and we improved as the days went on.
And so from the defensive standpoint, what are some of those conversations with the staff been coming out of last season, and what are some things that have been done to try to change the outcomes stopping teams?
I wanted to get back to a defense that I was more familiar with, that like a good offense has multiplicity yet is simple. And so I had a great experience at Louisville and then was part of Coach Smart's staff there at Georgia. And I spent a lot of time really watching them and comparing it to what we did at Louisville because, we had a lot of multiplicity. And I know as an offense coordinator, that's tough. You got to block all these different fronts and you got to handle all the different pressures. So I wanted to get to more of that style of defense, and that's what we've done. We've taken a step in that direction.
Mm-hmm. Now, guys, there was a decade called the 90s that you guys have only been told stories about, but back then I was doing what I was doing, he was doing what he was doing, but he was a head coach. So long gap between that head coaching stint at Southern Illinois and this one. Some of the things in this past year you've either done a refresher on about being a head coach, you've learned, obviously there have been a lot of changes in the game since you last ran a program, but where's some of the growth for you in that area?
Well, I think number one, I was so young. I was 32 years old, and I had no idea. I was the guy that thought he knew everything and knew nothing. So I was humbled a lot, and that experience really helped me. I really went and joined Gary because I wanted to learn to be a better head coach, and I got to work underneath a great one in Gary Barnett, and I learned a lot. I learned how to build a team, and I think that's a lot of things that I am today. In terms of the team building, is him. Because he was a master builder. I mean, he was the best.
In two different places, yeah.
Two different places.
At a very high level.
At a high level.
Yeah. And I just thought it was interesting. And again, I mean, can you guys, Brandon, start with you, appreciate the fact that, the places this guy has been as a college coach, not just a head coach, but around the coaches. I mean, it had to impress you when he came on board, seeing that background, that resume.
Sir, absolutely. It's kind of funny. Whenever we talk to somebody new or somebody like within the coaching branch, they always ask, "Oh, do you know Coach Watson?" And it's always like just kind of refreshing to know like we have a head coach with a ton of experience who's seen a thing or two, so he's been through a thing or two. So it's just a great feeling to have.
Yeah. And Kyle, got to be pretty cool having an offensive-minded head coach who's been around some guys who've made it onto the NFL and some pretty big names at that.
Yeah, one thing about Coach Watson is he's definitely a storyteller. He always tells us a story about, he had Teddy Bridgewater with him. He's had guys like Jake Fromm. He's just had a lot of big-time guys. And, when he's telling us these stories, he's also letting us know that we can do the same things that, they've done. And he's also letting us know what it took for them to get to that point. So I think it's really cool having a guy who's seen everything, who's done everything, who knows everybody. It's really nice.
And keep in mind, this is a Wofford team that's made 10 postseason trips since 2003 and then had a very successful decade from 2010 to 2020. And I know you guys are all focused on getting back to that. The best of luck to you